What's going on, guys? So in today's video, we are going to be breaking down my prompting strategy and how I go about writing prompts to get the exact outputs that I'm looking for while also avoiding like generic slop, while also avoiding hallucinations. So I wrote this prompting guide here that I'll be including in the description. How we're going to do this is actually we're going to turn a generic prompt that someone sent me in the DMs. I actually changed it a little bit so I didn't have to like put them on blast because I felt bad. But someone sent me this prompt and asked for help essentially, and a prompt similar to this, okay? And we're going to be turning it into actually a very good prompt because they were saying that it was getting generic results. They didn't like the output that they were getting. And I can see many reasons why. So I'll be using this submitted prompt and turning it into a much better prompt as a demo for this prompting guide on how I go about prompting. So in general though, when writing prompts, everyone assumes that these AI models are super smart and can read your mind. Let me tell you guys this. The highest ROI mindset you can have when it comes to writing prompts, whether it's GPT, Claude, Gemini, whatever, right? Grok. You need to write prompts like you're giving instructions to a fucking dipshit intern. You need to write prompts like you're giving instructions to a dipshit intern that knows absolutely nothing about you, your company, nothing. Just pretend it is an absolute dipshit, okay? So the exercise I always encourage people is just forget AI for just a second. Imagine you're writing an SOP for this dumb intern, right? How would you write it to get the output that you want in the most consistent way? What is the best SOP that you can write for this intern to do the specific task that you're trying to have GPT or Claude do for you, okay? So again, someone sent me this prompt over here, right? And we're gonna be turning it into a much, much better prompt. And just to give you guys some context, they said that when using this prompt, the output was generic and not what they had in mind. And to be honest with you, what I had to tell you from looking at this prompt is that this prompt is generic. And when you say it's not what you had in mind, from reading this prompt, I have no clue what's going on in your mind. Like, let's just pretend I'm the fucking dipshit intern, right? So I'm reading this, right? I'm the dipshit intern here. Write a high converting landing page for a minimalist video ad generator that helps indie founders create TikTok style product promos and that helps indie founders create viral TikTok style product promos in minutes, blah, blah, blah. Something I want you guys to understand is that these AI models, right? And I kind of say it right here. Remember, these AI models, they are trained on vast amounts of data. And thus, as a result, there are infinite different outputs that it can return. And like your job with a prompt is to be ultra clear, ultra specific on what you want to cut through all that noise. Because if you gave this prompt right here to 10 different copywriters, 10 different dipshits, 10 different even smart copywriters, right? It doesn't matter. You're going to get very different results across the board. Like again, if I ask 10 different copywriters, what does a high converting landing page even mean? Right? What does that look like to you? You're going to get 10 different answers because maybe one copywriter doesn't even like doing all this shit. They think a scroll stopping hero headline is fucking dumb. I don't know, right? Everyone has their own opinions. Everyone has their own different styles, right? And that's why I always say, especially when it comes to creative tasks, and you hear this all the time, AI cannot generate taste for you. It cannot generate your style. Like AI only amplifies what you currently have. And if you're not a good copywriter and you don't have a specific structure on how to write landing page copy, right? Like if you don't know shit about writing landing page copy, like most likely you're going to get shit results because all the AI is doing is just automating your current process. If you have no process, it's just going to produce something generic and not what you had in mind, right? So the first step that we're going to be going over is defining the role. Okay. So when you give a role in a prompt, you're going to be telling the AI who it should pretend to be while writing. Think of it like casting an actor for a scene. If you just say writing a landing page, the AI is just guessing like, okay, fuck it, I'll just write a landing page. But should it write like a founder, a Gen Z marketer, or a corporate agency? Like there are so many different tones, so many different styles that a person could write. Because again, it's trained on the entire internet. You have to decide on how it should write. You have to like almost like give it the role, give it the mindset of the type of person it should be while it is writing this content. Because again, the same content written by different people sounds totally different. For example, a developer would explain features with technical terms. For example, a developer would probably explain features with more technical terms. A marketer focused on benefits and emotions. A Gen Z founder would keep it fast, casual, and funny. It's your job, based on what you want your output to look like, to match a role that best fits this outcome. Again, that comes from being a good marketer. That comes from understanding your market, understanding your target audience and their pain points, their desires, and that's how you kind of decide what is the best fit for them. Again, AI is only supposed to amplify your skill set, okay? It's not supposed to take place of it, okay? So, for example, with the original prompt, we have this, right? I'd maybe start it with you're an expert direct response marketer, or other ones could be like you're an indie founder writing copy for other solo builders. I don't know, right? Again, it just depends on what you want. For this demo, we're just gonna stick with you're an expert direct response marketer. So again, if I say that at the beginning, what's going to happen is that it's going to write like a direct response marketer would. Again, we're going to be filling it with other context to make things more specific. So you guys will see that in a second. But let's show how it looks, the differences between the two in ChatGPT. So again, this is the original prompt, right? Let's just copy and paste this. So I turned on temporary chat just so we have unbiased results. So this temporary chat, if you don't know, it's right here. It pretty much doesn't use my memory, none of that shit. And just to make it like an unbiased run, okay? So let's see what it does. So I ran the original prompt that was sent to me. Make scroll stopping TikTok ads in minutes, no cringe, no crew, no fluff. Again, this kind of just reads like AI slop, as you would say. So you're building the feature, your marketing should look like it, or AI powered video tools. It's like, it's not terrible. It's not great either. It's just kind of like mid, right? And again, if you're the founder of this fake company, it's probably not what you had in mind, quote unquote, because again, there's not enough context provided in here. But now let's go run it again with actual context, okay? So I actually have the full prompt here, so I'm just gonna paste it one at a time because this stuff's for later. Let's go do this. So now when we write this, oh, let me delete this. When we write this, it's gonna actually sound like a direct response marketer. And let me actually include this part just to... And now for demonstration, what I'm going to do is include the same prompt, but also include at the beginning the role that we define it as. So again, you are an expert direct response marketer. So now it's going to write this landing page as a direct response marketer. That's just for this scenario, what I am looking for this landing page, right? Again, there's no right or wrong answer, whether it's like write in the manner of direct response, write as a Gen Z founder. I don't know. It all depends at the end of the day on what you are looking for. Because again, you are the controller of this shit, okay? So let's run this. And if you read this and have studied any direct response, this sounds much better than the previous one, I would say. And it's very more direct response-esque. Like, it still kind of has a little bit slop to it, which is fine. But we're getting there, is what I'm trying to say. Like, it's more like, from a copywriting perspective, more like hitting their pain points, hitting the benefits, shit like that. And that's just, for me personally, because that's just how I like to write. That's just how I learned marketing with copywriting and direct response. That's just how I like to go about things. But again, everyone has different points of view. But nonetheless, you can see how including this role changes the way that the output is coming out, right? Again, this is just basic shit. We're gonna get into the more of the fun stuff in a bit. But let's go. So now, that's defining the role. Now what we're going to do is defining the task. So here you want to go into great detail on the exact task you want the AI to complete. So remember, pretend you are talking to a dipshit intern, right? You want to break down the task you want as simplest words as possible. So again, you don't have to like overthink this. Like the task for this example or for our demo is literally just write a high converting landing page for a minimalist video ad generator that helps indie founders do blah, blah, blah. Okay. So pretty straightforward, okay? And from there on, the next step, and this is the most important step and will be the bulk of this video, it's providing context. And I think though that, again, you see on Twitter all the time about like context engineering and like providing context. And there's like so many different formats, I guess, in providing context and prompts. I have a specific strategy I like. Again, there's no right or wrong answer. One thing I want to mention too with prompting is that this structure is just what I like. Just like with any creative task, writing, everyone has their own structures. There's like a bajillion ways that work to write a good prompt. Okay, this is just what works for me, right? So you don't have to copy this to a T, right? This is just what has worked for me, I want to preface. Because with me, especially with a lot of clients I've worked with, main thing is like avoiding hallucinations and shit like that. So I'm a lot more like prone to mitigating errors, mitigating hallucinations, shit like that. So I'm very like strict. I'd rather have less creativity in the AI in return for more like structure with all this shit. So that's just what I lean towards. But nonetheless, this applies even if you're more creative. Whole point is I'm just gonna give you the structure on how I provide context as a whole, just because I don't think on Twitter or YouTube that I've seen, no one has any provided I haven't really seen any good information on like how to best provide context to an AI, right? Because I think a lot of people think they provide context to an AI model or in the prompts, but it's like nowhere near enough context in my opinion. So providing context, think of everything that a dumb intern would need to successfully complete this task in a manner that you want to do it. Okay, because I see a lot of people say they are providing context, but it's nowhere near enough and it's just vague. It's not vague, but it is vague, right? So here are some examples of things that you need to include, and I'm going to be diving deeper into each of these. It's further requests with the task, output structure, information on the product, market research, example/inspiration, okay? So let's start with further requests with a task. This is pretty straightforward. Just get further details about the task you want done. So this is honestly just a fleshed out version of the original prompt, okay? So let's go back to it. Further requests. So again, the original request was just write a high converting landing page for this video ad generator, right? So just make the tone playful but self-assured, speaking directly to Gen Z builders. Again, I wouldn't overthink this part. All we're doing is just further defining the task. Like, honestly, this probably should have been combined with the task part. But nonetheless, the next part that I always include as context is output structure. So what do I mean by output structure? Like, how do you want the output that the AI writes to be structured? Like, how do you want that to look like? So when it comes to copywriting, think of just, again, forget AI. Like, if you ever done like copywriting, there's like a lot of structures that people do with ads, like hook or headline, objection handling, social proof, call to action, things like that, right? Similar structure here, like what do you want that to be? And actually defining clearly what each of them means. Because again, don't assume an AI can read your mind. Like, define what a good headline is for you. Okay? Define what a good sub-headline is for you. Define what how to write good feature bullets. Because again, everyone writes shit differently. Like, you want to give as much instructions as possible. Because again, because again, it can't read your mind, right? If you gave it, like say for feature bullets, right? If you gave that to 5 different copywriters, each of them have their 5 different unique formats that they like to do feature bullets maybe, right? So the whole point is just to give it further information on what you are looking for again, okay? Because again, the main key with all this is to assume it can't read your mind and just, again, you're teaching a dumb intern. That's all you're doing, right? So, okay, I'm just gonna keep reiterating. I'm just gonna keep reiterating that shit throughout this whole video, by the way. But yeah, so output structure. Okay, so just define the structure that you want. And by the way, guys, this doesn't just have to apply to say marketing and shit. Like, let's say you're creating like a Slack agent that summarizes your client Slack channels every day, right? Like, you can say it in the summary, like start with big wins from client. Or here, wait, why am I doing this? You can say start with big wins from client, and give a definition on what that looks like, so testimonials and shit. Another thing that you would add next is, let's say, like things to do, concerns, I don't know, right? But what you want to do is, obviously, if you're working with an AI model, you want to give a specific structure on how you want to respond, how you want the output to look like. All you have to do is just define it. It's honestly really that fucking simple. So what I think would be good if we did now, actually, is if we got this OG prompt that we ran this earlier right here, right? So we ran this with just like the role definition, okay? We're gonna run it now so you can see the difference of when we define the actual output structure, okay? So again, this is the output structure right here. So what are some things that I expect to be different, right? Is actually the way we define the actual output structure, all right? So before we ran this and we kind of defined it slightly, like include a scroll stopping headline, a sharp sub headline. But like, again, if I'm reading this, like what the fuck does a scroll stopping headline like mean to me or to anyone, right? It's so different. What does a sharp sub headline, these are just such vague adjectives. And that's a big thing with prompting. Like, if you're trying to give it context, don't depend on adjectives. Because like adjectives can be so vague. Like, let's say I told it to sound confident. Like, what the fuck does confident mean? Like, right? There's confident on what scale, right? Like, does that mean just like being semi-direct, being a cocky piece of shit? Like, there's so many definitions of confident, like so many different levels of confident. You have to define it clearly in the prompt, right? And the same goes for all of this, okay? So, what I expect to be different is that for each of these right here, it will more so align with how we actually define it here. So again, for the hero headline, it'll be a scroll stopping headline that immediately grabs attention and should communicate the core benefit like very clearly and quickly, right? Next one will be a short explanation of what the product actually is, the feature bullets, and so look, it'll be short, skimmable, keep it fun, visual, and outcome oriented. So, and next one, and the call to the CTA clearly tells the reader what to do. So yeah, let's run this right now. So I'm gonna copy and paste this. And look at this, guys. So I ran this, and again, it much more matches the definition that we defined it, right? So hero headline, write a bold scroll stopping headline that immediately grabs attention. It should communicate the core benefit clearly and quickly. I would say this is very clear and quick. Make TikToks, not excuses, okay? Subheading, what do we say? Write a sharp explanation of what the product is and what it helps the users do. This should support the headline with added clarity and reinforce the core value. So make TikToks, not excuses, whip up viral products promos in minutes, no fancy gear, editing chops, or soul-sucking agency invoices required. Just vibe, speed, and sales. Again, this is much so more matching like what we're defining it to be, like what we were originally looking for. Because again, what we're doing is we're providing just more, it sounds super simple, at least to me, but it's like we're just providing more specific context on what we're looking for. And because of that, again, we're cutting through all the other noise of like what's not relevant to what we're not looking for. And we're just all it is just GPT is, again, a dumb intern, but it follows instructions in the best fucking way possible. So when you give it specific instructions, you're going to get specific results. And the same applies with the feature bullets and the CTA here. Like for example, the CTA, and with a bold, confident CTA that clearly tells the reader what to do next. Make it casual, inviting, not corporate engineering. Again, I kind of like wrote these off the whim. I would have probably explained this deeper in an ideal world, but nonetheless, it sounds much better. Like, ready to turn your scrappy clips into scroll stoppers, try for free, go viral, or go home. All right, it sounds a lot more like just in tone with what we're looking for, right? And this additional context up here actually helps a lot too. And just again, helping it understand like what does like a playful tone, like even like what does a playful and self-assured tone even look like? Like, what does that mean? And we're giving it instruction, like we're giving examples here. Like, for example, turn your raw content into scroll stopping ads, hooks, flash hashtags, and all without sounding like ChatGPT. Or like, we're giving it examples of like, what does speaking directly to Gen Z sound like? What does playful sound like? It's like we're redefining these. We're actually giving real examples for GPT to learn off of for these adjectives, essentially. Okay. And then the next part. So again, that's so far how I would improve this prompt. So right now, this is what was originally sent. And right now it is turned into this. So let's copy and paste what we have so far, just so you can see where we're at this current state. So let's say call it stage 1, even though, oops. So look at that, much better. You're an expert direct response marketer. Write a high converting landing page. So we make the tone playful but self-assured, speaking directly to Gen Z founders. Here's some examples how we would talk to them, how we would talk to it. What's the output structure look like? We include that. And the next part is what it was missing before is actual definition on what this product is. Like, guys, if you've ever written copy in your life, the key thing is like emphasizing your value props, emphasizing like and hitting your like actual audience's like pain points. There is nothing in here. Like, let's just pretend I'm a dumb intern, right? Or even if I was a good copywriter, how in the fuck would I write good copy based off these instructions alone if I don't know shit about your product and I don't know shit about your audience? Wouldn't it make sense to include some like descriptions on like value props about your product, value, what your audience's pain points are, what they love, like how they think, just any form of market research, right? Like, that is literally shit any basic copywriter would need to write good copy. So why wouldn't you supply that to an AI model? Okay, so that is what we're gonna add next. Yeah, so general information needed to write copy. So one would be information on the product. So again, this is just maybe with ChatGPT, but this is information on the product. The product is called Real Quick. This is all made up, by the way. Okay, this is not a real product. It gives actual benefits of the product, what the product does, the key features, all that shit, right? And more importantly too, like, you can't write a high converting landing page if you don't know your audience. Again, it's going back to the same shit. Like, you guys, I think the big thing is like, a lot of people, at times people think like AI can replace skill. It really can't. Like, it can't change, it can't read, it's not a black box where it can just magically generate landing page copy without knowing shit about your product, without knowing shit about your audience. Like, it's not God, okay? That's what I'm trying to say. Like, you have to give it the necessities in order for it to succeed, all right? So again, we're including market research here. So like, just again, what about our audience? What about our founders that we're targeting? Like, what pain points do they have? Like, what are we solving that would really resonate with them to get them to actually pull the trigger and buy? And that supplements ChatGPT or Claude, whatever the fuck you're using, with a lot more ammunition to actually write a good landing page. So again, let's show you guys the difference of what it looks like when you include this shit now. So right now, this was the last prompt we ran, okay? And this is actually pretty decent, right? It's in our structure. When I say decent, it followed the instructions pretty well, is what I'm looking for. So now we have actual information on the key value props of our product. We have information on like what hits with our audience, right? Because we have market research. Now let's include that into a different prompt. Okay, so this is the new prompt that we just ran. So again, it's the original prompt as before. So it has the actual task, the role, the output structure. Where is it? The information on the product, market research. I probably should have spaced this out a little bit better. And again, let's see what it looks like now compared to before. Okay, so again, this is what it was before, again, which was pretty decent. Okay, so let's look at it now. So turn your product into a viral TikTok in 10 minutes flat. Just drop the footage, pick a vibe, and real quick spits out. It sounds 10 times better, right? Like, this sounds like a much better copy. Again, better depending on who you are, but to me, it sounds a lot better, right? And just drop your footage, pick a vibe, and real quick spits out scroll stopping videos that don't look like you tried too hard, even though you didn't try at all. It speaks like what our value props and like what we said about our product, and it got all that information to write this copy from including information on the product, the key features, and their market research on what actually resonates with them, okay? So like, again, that's what it's doing here. So feature bullets like hooks that slap. And again, it writes like to Gen Z now too, right? Like it's just, this is like super high ROI because again, context isn't just like saying like, be confident, here's information on my like business. That is like fucking baseline knowledge. Context is actually providing all the key shit you need, again, that a dumb intern would need to fulfill this job, all right? And it's hitting, and with these feature bullets, it's hitting the exact pain points and the exact benefits that this quote unquote audience is looking for if you go through the market research guide. So like, look at it right here. Like they don't have editing skills, hiring video editors is expensive, tools are overwhelming, they don't know what a good hook looks like, what they want is a test promo videos fast, they don't want corporate sounding messages, cheesy promo energy, and look at that. Hooks, it helps you with the hooks, auto edits like a beast, templates that convert, instantly platform ready, no learning curve, and also the scroll stopping videos that don't look like you tried too hard or even though you didn't try at all. Like it's literally resonating based off the market research that we provided. So again, if you're writing copy, and this applies to just general copywriting, guys, and I'm not trying to make this a copywriting video, but like the whole premise that I'm trying to get you guys to understand is that if you want to use AI to automate a task, you have to understand how to successfully do that task yourself. Because if you know that, and I'm not a great copywriter by any means, right? I'm like a fucking 4 out of 10 in my honest opinion, right? But if just in terms of just basic copywriting, you need like market research to write a basic landing page or basic ads, like to write good ads, like write good like scripts, whatever the fuck. You need to know your audience and can't just assume who your audience is based off like write me a landing page copy, right? You have to give it some market research for it to work off of at the end of the day. And then the last thing I always include is examples / inspiration. Okay, so I like to actually include like, so here's all these because again, if you've ever done a job, like here's all the, if you can, one could be as detailed as fuck with instructions, like give the best SOP in the world. The best way I've learned and where a lot of people learn, especially AI models that are designed to learn off of patterns and seeing examples and replicating those examples, is learning off of doing and seeing live good work being done, right? So again, what I like to do is provide examples of like good copy. Like, okay, below are examples of landing page copy for similar projects that I thought were good so you can get a gauge for what good landing pages look like, right? And I provided two examples of random landing page copy. Again, this is just bullshit examples, but just for the sake of understanding, like again, you would put like, let's say you're running ad scripts for like a B2C SaaS. Maybe you include other ad scripts that were successful from other B2C SaaS products in a similar niche, right? The whole point is just to, again, give it the best, like the whole goal of all of this is to give the model a ton of good context. You don't want to just stuff it with bullshit and fluff. Like, hey, here's like 20 ads that I've ran in the past. Like, what if like half of those were shit, right? And half of them are good? That does literally fucking zero for the AI model because it's just going to think all those are good. It makes no difference, okay? What you're trying to do is give it a high signal in this context that you're providing with a lot of good context for it to learn off of. Because again, the mindset I want you guys to have is if I were a dumb intern, wouldn't this be extremely helpful for running this landing page, right? Like having actual examples with these instructions. Like, again, just forget AI. Like, just think I'm a dumb intern. Like, wouldn't this be really fucking helpful? Like, if you had examples, like, wouldn't if you had an intern and you had them write ads for you, that you showed them ads that have worked in the past for you guys, so they can write ads similar to that or like improve upon those ads, right? Like, it's, I don't know, maybe to me, sometimes it's really that simple, guys. But yeah, guys, that is pretty much the end of this video. Hope you guys really enjoyed this prompting. Again, this is much more different than the usual content where I'm giving you like system design flows and shit like that. I just had a lot of DMs about just like how to write prompts, honestly. And I thought this would just be very helpful for a lot of you guys, okay? But yeah, guys, thank you guys so much. And please, 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 if you guys ever have any questions, I actually respond to all my DMs and answer questions. So please, 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 if you have any questions from this, with anything AI related, please hit me up on Twitter. Happy to talk anytime, okay? But yeah, thank you guys so much and hope you guys have a great day.